RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief public show. Hopefully this will be a relatively short video. I actually had a really nice long-winded rant there on crypto yesterday. And of course, we also had our raffle winner, which was super cool to see, Ghost 88. We're trying to get him set up on the school program. Actually, I'm quite pleased to see there are more students on the site this term than I was actually expecting. I was expecting the school to be very light. In actual fact, we're even going to need our services of Murat, our super duper level 2 instructor. So Murat, if you are watching this, I think Julian's been putting some messages out for you. There is the Joshua, the McGowan, the Shartoshi. Actually, heading down your neck of the woods, I guess in just about exactly 1 month. We'll be down in your area. And actually, February is a short month, right? Does that work? I don't know. Anyway, so actually over the month, the latter part, well, I guess the beginning part of February, and right through probably the month of February, the Beamish is going to be reporting in from various exotic locations. I think we're even going to do a Coinigy show, I think Wednesday, the 7th of February, something like that, from Portland. So I think that's where Joe lives. Also, too, was chatting with Grim the other day, and he's super excited. He's also out of the Portland area. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm taking my show co-host, director, producer, chief bottle washer with me. So and then we're heading on down to El Salvador. We're going to kick our feet up on Bitcoin Beach. Actually, I'm probably going to leave my show producer. And I think he's actually going to invest in one of these Allen Internet Starlink things to make sure that his internet is bulletproof while he's down south there. So actually might be a really good commentary on whether we should all go and get one of those things just to make sure we have internet whenever we need it. And we're not sort of encumbered by local oligarch internet providers. Actually, speaking of Alan, I thought it was kind of interesting. I was just perusing through Monday. TRI should be MacroMonday, which means I really want to take a look at sort of the bigger picture of the market in our after party. What are things like bread saying? What's the bullish percentage index saying? What's the weekly commodity trend survey saying? And then also too, I do like to peruse through the signals, and just sort of see what's new, anything that's developing. And as I was going through things, I noticed, and actually surprised me, but I guess it shouldn't, that Allen's weekly outside downside key reversal has actually been working here since the middle of summer. So ironically enough, really there's no point in being long Allen here. And that's actually just basically been dead money. But probably you're not going to win a lot of friends by saying investing in Tesla's dead money. Anyway, it is a great testament to this concept of weekly key reversals. And I would highly encourage everybody to try and incorporate that kind of thinking into your plan. Also, too, which really surprised me, but I guess it shouldn't. I don't know whether you guys have heard me ranting about the Canadian banking system and the utter and just insane stupidity of this Canadian market. But I did find it interesting. I was scrolling through the momentum signals on the dashboard. Again, you know, I'll probably do more of this on Wednesday for our stock pickers club. And by the way, Tuesday is our crypto day. Of course, we have TRI CTO Sjord on, who's a crypto wizard. And we'll review all the crypto signals and stuff on Tuesday. So yeah, tune in for that. What's that? All right, thank you, sir. And I got to give it, got to give a big shout out to Chris. We're trying to put together a video piece for social media on sort of what my expectations of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin story. And we sort of gave Chris a challenge here. Could you sort of put together the resources to do a half decent video presentation that's pre-recorded and scripted and pretty charts and all that kind of stuff? And I'll tell you, Chris not only came through with the platform, but he was also able to put up with me for like 4 or 5 hours yesterday as I just sat and bitched and complained about how horrible life is while we struggled our way through the content. And I think actually we've got a half decent product that you guys are all really going to enjoy. So that's kind of a fun side to you. But, big props to Chris. And of course, Chris showed up for opening range trades this morning. I actually had a pretty nice little opening range trade this morning. Kind of fat fingered it. I actually placed a buy order when I was supposed to place a sell order. It would have been a monster home run day, but I actually gave a little bit of money back to the market. But not bad. I mean, considering today is a holiday, but stepped in and hopefully I've been trying to show you guys this over the past 6 months. I would like to sort of get my sort of day trader acumen back, and I'm just committed to taking the opening range trade in the crude oil every single day. Actually, I'm quite pleased to see they have like a goal. You have to make $3,000 without losing any money, kind of idea at Top Step before they'll talk to you. And the account's up a better part of $1,000 right now, so about a third of the way through. Just taking this one setup every single day and just trying to be the demonstrator of best practices. So interesting, and on a holiday too, I was a bit leery about whether I really wanted to participate, but as you can see, boom, our 1-to-1 level hit, boom, our 2-to-1 level hit. And unfortunately, up here, this is where I made my fat finger mistake. And I always think it's a good idea, if you're going to learn something from the Beamish today. If you ever make a mistake while trading and you're just out of rhythm, and because I had bought where I was supposed to sell up here, that screwed up my average cost. And so on the DOM and on the Top Step reports and shit, they're actually showing me long from up here, and it was just like, you know what, this is a mistake. That all the numbers are going to be skewed. I'm just going to close the position out. And they often say that when you do make a mistake, the best thing for you to do is just get the boat righted, and so there is no mistake, there's nothing, and then just start from scratch and move on. If there happens to be a setup that develops here, ironically enough, actually I would have sold two and had one runner just run and see where the hell this thing goes. And it's interesting actually that the runner would have been stopped at scratch about an hour later. So 6-to-1, half dozen the other. It wasn't a huge monetary mistake because I closed the mistake instantly and just basically righted the ship. I think it took like 6 ticks loss. But I think it's important that you acknowledge your mistakes, embrace them. If you want, if you're at the point where you keep seeing the same mistake being done over and over, it's a good idea to actually keep track of the monetary implications of your mistake, so your subconscious sees how much it's costing you. And then, also too, not a bad idea if you find that you are making mistakes consistently, to do things like demon finders to try and really hone in on where it is in the process that you're fucking up. Because usually, ironically enough, the mistakes that you make, well, if you don't keep track of them in the short term, what ends up happening is you actually end up keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over, and you don't even realize it. I found that in my career, and I've seen that, of course, in tons of students over the years. And I hate to say it, or I don't know whether I hate to say it. I'm not certainly proud of it, but it is what it is. I've been teaching this program for 10 years now. I can't believe it. It's like a decade. You'd think I'd be accredited or something. God, you listen to our testimony. So, and by the way, I think actually the school term here starts officially in 5 hours and 48 minutes. So you better get off your butt and register if you still want to get involved. But actually, like I said, I was actually quite pleased to see that there were more signups than I was even expecting this term. So that was encouraging. So anyway, there's a little chat a little bit about a day trader's life. Take a screenshot of that. You can see that all the journaling I had to do to sort of hash out exactly where I made my mistake and what it cost me. And then, like I said, I think it's always a good idea that if you find yourself in the middle of a mistake, just cover the trade, get out, clean things up. And really, because it was a profitable day, it wasn't a huge number, but hey, profit is a profit is a profit. I just shut it down, said, you know what, it's a holiday today. I shouldn't really be pushing anyway. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the futures markets are closing relatively early today, aren't they, Chris? Chris would know. Anyway. There he is. All right. With regard to econs and sort of why it's more commentary here today than anything else, there's nothing happening. Yeah. I mean, I suppose you have something going on in China. God, it's incredible going on social media now. All this sort of talking heads that are Canadian media, social media sort of providers and stuff, they are just up in arms over this latest absolute gaffe of using our fucking Gestapo to silence the media here in my country. It's great to see it on social media, but I tell you, this damn country, it's too bad because this country, like 20, 30 years ago, everybody around the world would go, that is a fucking awesome country. Now, all you see on social media is just story after story. And if anything, I hate to say it, people, but this is exactly the whole point of the fear greed cycle. That at the top of the fear cycles, when all of the commodity nations get bid up to absolutely insane levels, there's only one way the country can go down. You see what's happening in Russia? Holy Shiite Muslim. I can't believe how that country is just collapsing. They've got like I've seen videos now on social media of like literally pipes bursting in downtown Moscow and like entire neighborhoods getting completely flooded out because the whole fucking infrastructure of the city's collapsing. Whole areas of Moscow are like browned out, and they're going to do rolling brownouts now, where you are politely asked to endure 12 hours with no electricity. Oh goodness! Have you seen what the temperatures is in Moscow right now? I mean, God, what a collapse of a society! Holy moly! Interestingly, how Australia is kind of flying under the radar here of late. I don't know whether you guys have seen that or not, but don't hear too many negative things about Australia. But at the same time, too, I think they're basically in the same boat as Canada and Russia and South Africa to a certain degree. So anyway, so the point here is there's no real driving econs. As Grim over there on the YouTube page, great to see you, buddy. Level 1 instructor, total boss. And actually, we're super excited about sort of the plan that we have for the students this term. Lots of fun, actually, new kind of experimenting stuff we're going to try and work with you guys. Relatively light news day. In fact, like the econ sort of story du jour was the fact that Europe is falling apart. But didn't we already know that? I mean, hell, you've got like basically, I saw a social media guy yesterday showed a screenshot 370,000 Russian boys dead on the battlefields of Ukraine. And they, because we're in the West, they don't publish the Ukrainian losses, but I'm sure they're, I wouldn't even be surprised if they're just as bad. So I mean, now, like fucking 500,000 humans their lives just thrown away because of hubris. Just disgusting. Terrible. Anyway, in the face of that, I don't see how economies can grow. And then also, too, to add insult to injury. And of course, it's always great on Tuesdays. If you can tune in for the after party on Tuesdays, we have a report from Sjord, who lives in the Netherlands. And we get basically a weekly reminder of how insane the socialism, quasi communism society is developing there in Europe, and how the hyperinflation is absolutely destroying people's standard of living. So how can economies grow in the face of that? It's interesting. On a side note, I hate to say it, and I don't want to sound like I told you so kind of person, but I remember when I went to Europe, and I've told you guys this before, when I went to Europe in 2018, I basically saw the peak of European civilization. And when I was in Berlin, every single car on the road was a brand new car. And, fancy cars too, 50, 60, $70,000 car. No old cars, nothing old. And it was sort of like, this isn't sustainable. How can people just keep buying new stuff? And sure enough, I think, probably the 20s and maybe even into the 30s, it's going to be sort of like, yeah, thanks for the warning. It's, I think it could easily be sort of like, Europe could even be sort of like the 1940s, having to recover from the Second World War, latter part of the 2020s, which actually, according to our sort of 80-year money master cycle, all that kind of stuff, is actually perfectly relevant. Anyway, blah blah blah. Brian's having fun ranting a bit here today. Let's see. So, looking at the broader market, what I did notice when I did my analysis here today, and really, I think this is probably, where we'll leave off the public broadcast. We want to go to this one. I noticed that crude prices kind of just fluttering around in no man's land. And to all intents and purposes, that's basically what we've done today. It's just played ping pong against this key support and this key resistance, just bouncing around in there. As you saw, I took a bunch of money from the market on the opening range trade, and then the market rallied into these moving average resistance levels and then rolled right back over. So not really a hell of a lot going on in crude. And you notice the notes here. So things like the gold market, keep in mind it is a holiday in the States today, and markets are closing. I think Grim over there is posting comments about 2024 Martin Luther King Day, and happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody there. So, if anything, what this kind of looks like is a potential bull flag. So A, B, C, D. If we do resolve this bullishly following the holiday, and we're probably heading back up top here on the gold, maybe $2,100. Take another run at that. If, however, we go and M out here, then fog and bombs 2.618, probably test of the low. So as it is right now, if I did really want to force a trade, there probably was something to do around settlement. Usually settlement tag, and you can see I got a couple moving average support levels here. Usually there's some sort of pivot there, but really my next sort of trade level that I want to keep an eye on is probably against this original market structure, this huge wick peak. And then, if the market really wants to stab up, do A, B, C, Ds, and next trade level would probably be up in this area against these highs. Right here, kind of no man's land. And, if you are a futures trader, maybe you're botting this out, one low, two lows, three lows. 25 is probably in that area somewhere in there. So, draw it out and get ready for the market tomorrow when the adults come back. Same sort of thing in the stock market. Actually, had a nice algo signal, a little bit of a head fake sell, then right back on the buy. That does happen with these algos. It's certainly nothing new. Been working that long for a while. And again, kind of like the gold market, kind of like the oil market, you can see we're basically consolidating here. If we do roll over and this M's out, then I think you could see some fireworks because we'll be below these moving averages in next key support. This 200 SMA will probably work its way up into these key lows. And that means we could have the market come off a bit. And then, of course, if this really big M fires, well, probably talking fog and bombs all the way back down here. So we'll keep an eye on how the algo looks. As we sort of pointed out here, you can see all it's going to take is somebody to sneeze, and this thing could very easily flash a sell here. So don't be surprised if, and just looking at the algo itself, it does look like it's like a rolling top here. So if we do break and start aiming out here, we have been talking about the January barometer quite a bit on the site, through January here. So, we'll keep an eye on this. You can see the latter part of the first hour was, latter part of the first day was, then we just rallied back smartly. Latter part of the first week certainly wasn't anything to really write home about. And then I have been talking to you guys about how they've been bidding this market up here, probably into options expiry. There's a huge call wall. I don't think they really want to sell a whole bunch of stock and market top in the market. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just sort of roll over here, and like all the January barometer reports, you see we have to go through a bit of a downslide here. So be prepared for that, folks. We'll finish off this broadcast, the free broadcast, then head on over to the after party. I actually gave you guys a special treat. I've been blabbing away here for about 20 minutes now. But we'll finish off with a quick boo at where are we here? Oh God, I can never remember which damn screen it is. Is it this one? Yeah. And the corn futures. Probably also too going to close early today. Didn't notice that's not the prettiest looking image, is it? Is this maybe a megaphone? Could be. But just looking at this in the short term, I definitely think you have, this was, of course, that ETF event. There's some great anecdote. We can talk, in the after party and stuff if you are interested about things like it was there physical evidence in the marketplace of the public coming in and panic buying that event, and actually there was, and actually hopefully I can save that for the level 3 program in the future, because it was a really, really good application of a concept of comparing limit orders and market orders in the marketplace. It kind of looks to me like this is now a A to B. So that's a measured move, that high down to that low. And then, notice there's a cute little doji right in there. I suppose you could do it off of that rally peak, but C to D, which takes us down into these lows. Did notice that the futures themselves gapped lower here this morning, right into this tail. And to be honest with you, considering the precipitous drop here, I wouldn't fault people for hunting longs down here. The only problem is we don't really have much. I mean, you have trade location, candle body lows for trade location, right? Shouldn't surprise us that there's a fight here. I doubt we have any indicator confirmation yet here. This just looks too violent. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to go down maybe even overnight into sort of the regular retail open for the regular markets tomorrow morning, maybe fish around that low, which actually creates a bullish momentum divergence if we get any strength on the other side of that. And then we get like counter trend rallies back into moving average resistance. So this peak here is going to be a pretty important pivot here for the market. It kind of looks like that's going to define, are we still in the bottom, or have we transitioned back into range? Like my hunch is that's probably 38.2 or thereabouts. 50% levels probably up in this area. And then of course, reload short zones. It's probably going to be against like this peak high here, this peak high here, this peak high, this peak high. You can almost like visually see it, that probably, Brian's favorite fib is probably up in this area here. So unfortunately, this I think is a really good analogy. A week or two ago, we were getting things like bearish momentum divergence signals from cash markets. We'll look at it in the after party. Well, yeah, maybe we can see it in the futures. Let's see if we can see it in the futures. Where is that? That's over here. And then here, let's see what we got. Yeah, okay. So there's that bottom. Oh yeah. So, the smiles are as plain as day here. If nothing else, I mean, maybe you're an Uber bull, and hey, I couldn't believe it. You know what? I'll probably leave off the video with this because if anything, this is a perfect analogy of what kind of market state we're in right now. And of course, Brian being snarky and not very politically correct. I'm probably going to get into trouble on social media for being a jerk. But you want to see what kind of market state we're in. Of course, if you ever see bearish momentum divergence, for God's sakes, cool your jets. So, I mean, you're getting an absolute incredible message to cool your jets here. And that, of course, is following the ETF debacle, right? You probably should just leave this alone. It's interesting that the TRI algo, which maybe we'll review tomorrow, being Crypto Tuesdays, actually is on the short side now. So it would endorse the idea of being short here. But you can see all the messages here. Lots of M's. I mean, interesting. We didn't have Willie get stupid there on the Williams percentage R, but nonetheless, lots of M's, lots of trending lower signals until we actually start seeing W's. Actually, encouraging to see little W's coming in here, but I don't see that bullish divergence that I wanted to see earlier that I was talking to you about. Maybe we'll start seeing it on things like the 30-minute. So you can see there's a bull div. So the bears off of the 30-minute chart, sort of heading into today's futures session, we're basically told you better cool your jets. And really, we've done absolutely nothing here today. So that doesn't surprise me. If you are a trader, you can actually see that a bearish div is starting to form here. So, and that would make sense. So once the North American session's over, then whoever was driving this thing lower through the weekend event or whatever, and then the adults coming back, because today's kind of a funny, weird banking holiday down in the States. And actually the stock market's closed. Probably a lot of those ETF people are going to come back and sell some more ETFs first thing out of the gate tomorrow. But you can already start to see that whatever the dead cat bounce was that was developing overnight, it's already petering out. So if this thing does rally up here and then roll over through the zero line, if you happen to be a lower time frame 30-minute trader, you're actually getting yourself, cool your jets on the bull side message. But for the time being, especially for most of this public audience, this to me is screaming, there was your big fundamental ETF event. Now everybody that fancies themselves a trader, you better just sit on the sidelines and just cool your jets and just wait for some sort of bullish structure to start building here before you start going risking your hard-earned money. So, okay, I think we'll leave the public broadcast at that. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Come on over to the after party. And we'll take a look at macro Mondays, any sort of big themes. I always like to look at the US dollar. It's interesting. We'll leave off here just with US dollar index, I think is actually working a bullish pattern now. And of course, what is a fantastic analogy of the top of the market? I'll leave you off with this. Probably going to get into trouble on social media. I'm probably not even allowed to play it. But
for the next 5 years, $1.3 million.
Oh, there you go. So as soon as and I don't know who this guy is, maybe he is fucking Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know. But when you start seeing this kind of chatter, you remember we had the ship captain? I don't know whatever happened to the ship captain, but he did kind of the same kind of forecast in social media, and I kind of busted his chops a little bit over that. My apologies there, ship captain. But actually, I heard that ship captain said, "All right, Mr. Smartass, I'll come and hang out in your community, and I'll see if you actually know what the hell you're talking about." But whenever you start seeing this kind of chatter on social media, this is a major warning sign, people. So, on that note, I don't know. Maybe the guy's right. I mean, he is giving himself a 5-year window. So, what the hell? But PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Look for our Bitcoin analysis video that we're going to be publishing here very shortly, probably within the next few days. And it'll actually give you some really interesting data points to chew on as we make our way through 2024, because this is going to be a really interesting year, folks. No doubt about it. And like we said from the January barometer report so far, it's not going to be peaches and can't cream. This is going to be a tough environment. So slow and steady wins the race. PMA for the win. All the best. And the only thing left right is bye for now.